are celebrating 40 years of GS, and the goal is to take you on a ride as we pay homage to limitless adventures both on and off the road. This is 40 years of GS. It's 4 decades of adventure. For 40 years, the BMW GS has combined versatility and adventure. We're celebrating that this year with features on several GS motorcycles that allude to the legendary Enduros from BMW Motorrad. Now, for our first feature, we take a glimpse of the 40 years GS edition of the G310 GS. Adapting the black and yellow color scheme of the legendary R100 GS, it brings the GS history to life, which spells spontaneity, adventure, and technology that's highly equipped with the GS flyline. Now, those who have, experienced the G310 GS can attest that at the very first turn of the throttle grip, you can clock up those serious miles and feel the spirit of GS in every mile. Now, let's check out if this is truly as awesome as it claims from the riding enthusiast who has just discovered her passion for motorcycles at the age of 40. And not only that, she's a woman who goes by the name of Inday Rider. What's up, Inday? Well, hello, Miss Inday Rider. What a pleasure to have you here with us.
Yes.
Well, let's start with your journey. Where did your journey in motorcycling begin?
Well, actually, I started 2 years ago. Just recently, I felt that I think I need to do something different. I want to distress and find an outlet from my busy world. And then came out, the rest is history.
The rest is history. Now you're making new memories, new histories, of course, with the G310. Tell us a little bit about, how you like the bike, what the bike means to you.
I really fell in love with adventure bikes, particular with this G310 GS, because it's light and nimble, with the weight of it at 169.5 kilograms.
Very manageable.
For a female rider like me, I think that's a very good factor for a bike.
All right, now the G310 GS is a bike for everybody, but it works particularly well for you, a female rider of your height and weight. Tell us a little bit about how well this, the dimensions of the bike work for you.
Yes, this bike is a great starter bike if you want to enter the adventure bikes. Kasi with this one, makaka-practice ka talaga.
Right.
And the feels of an adventure bike, it may be 310cc displacement. I know it's lowered, but for a newbie, it's perfect as a practice bike also.
Okay, there are a few other details here that make it very ideal for somebody like you. The clutch levers, brake levers, adjustable for your hand size.
Yes, actually, this is one feature that is best because most of us, when you do long rides, number one na napapagod are the hands. So if the clutches or the brake levers are adjusted to your preference, that would be a good add-on to the comfort of your riding.
Right. You know, comfort is one thing, feeling good about the bike is another, and you feel good about the bike because primarily a bike, first and foremost, has to have visual appeal. This bike looks beautiful. Is there anything on the bike that really stands out for you? What would you say is your favorite feature when it comes to the G310?
The suspension sa harap is upside forks, so it's best for off-road riding then. So you get the best of both worlds kasi not only on street and road ride, you also can play around on dirt roads.
Right.
It's very convenient for you to ride it. Parang madali siyang i-maneuver because of the wide handles you have. And I think even if you go to the inner roads of our provinces, which is very sometimes jam-packed then, madali lang din siyang isingit. So that's one factor I like about this bike.
It really sounds like you're in love with it.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you so much, Inday Rider.
Yes, thank you, Pao.
Next up, we have the F750 GS 40 Years GS Edition. Starting your adventure just got easier thanks to this bike's extensive technical features. I'm talking about dynamic traction control, or DTC. ABS Pro and Pro riding modes help provide secure handling in a variety of situations. The powerful 2-cylinder inline engine delivers all the drive you need. Wow, now that is a lot of tech words. And so, let us find out more as another motorcycle lady enthusiast takes us on a wild ride. Here's MotoConnect Manila's feature on the F750 GS 40 Years Edition. All right, Rika, the woman behind MotoConnect. Now, I'm really excited to talk about the F750 GS. Let's talk about what kind of a rider you are nowadays.
I can say that I'm not yet a seasoned rider. I'm just a newbie rider and, of course, a lady rider. And as a lady rider, it's very important that I'm comfortable with the bike that I choose. And because of that oh no moments, and especially that I'm 5'3", I find it difficult to look for a certain bike that I'd be comfortable.
Okay. Now, that said, 5'3", lady rider.
Newbie rider.
Newbie rider. Maybe something, maybe the kind of person who wants something a little bit light. An adventure bike might not be the top of your list, but the F750 has sort of changed your mind, hasn't it?
For me, it's really a good foundation because with its weight, it's 224 kilograms. So weight comes with stability. What I like also is that it has TFT display, which is very helpful for me because I can see the gauge, the fuel consumption, my speed, of course, and my distance. And the fuel tank capacity is 15 liters. It's very matipid. And the feeling of being in an F750, it feels like I don't have to worry anymore. All I have to do is just ride it.
Right. Enjoy it and smile while you're riding it. Is there any particular feature that really tops your list as far as what the 750 has to offer?
Well, I think the seat. As a newbie rider and as a short rider, it's very important, the width and of course the shape. It's narrow, so it's easier for me to lean towards and hug the tank with my legs. So that's what I really like about it. And of course, it's very ergonomic. Wala yung feeling na ang sakit na ng pet mo during longer rides. So I like that it's very ergonomic.
Okay, it's comfortable, it fits well, and it doesn't hurt that it looks pretty good as well in this color scheme.
Pretty badass.
Yeah, pretty badass, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing you out on the road. Happy riding.
Yes, I'll definitely see you on the road.
All right, thanks so much, Rika.
Thank you.
All right, now our next feature vehicle is going to be the BMW F850 GS. It is perfectly streamlined for off-roading, as can be seen from its 21-inch front wheel. What matters is your curiosity and what drives you, regardless of how far or where you want to ride. Now, speaking of far destinations, we have with us another riding enthusiast who's best known in motorcycle communities as JT of Motor. He also does the famous Libot Pilipinas vlog. Let's hear it from the man. Hey, JT. Now, before we talk about this amazing bike, let's talk about you and how you got started in riding. How would you describe yourself as a rider? I mean, you're known for your mile-munching tours, 81 provinces and all of that. But what kind of a rider are you?
Well, number one, I'm definitely a safe rider. Yes, safety is number one priority for me. But of course, it's mostly on touring and seeing beautiful places using the bike.
Okay, so what for you would make the ideal bike for the kind of riding that you're interested in doing?
Yeah, for me, it's definitely 100% an adventure bike.
If you ask 5 different people what they think an adventure bike should be, you'll get 5 different answers.
Okay.
What are the most important things for you aside from comfort? Are there any specific features that maybe you find here on the F850?
Yeah, of course, it's the suspension. That's number one. Of course, it's connected with comfort as well. But absorbing those, the impact on the road is, it's very important. And as well as safety features.
Right. What would you say are some of the standout features or your personal favorite features on the F850?
Yeah. My favorite is the display, TFT display. I think it's one of the best, if not the best, TFT displays out there.
Yeah.
It's very vivid, it's very visible even on extremely bright conditions. Aside from the quality itself of the display, I also like the user interface. It's very user-friendly. You can navigate easily through the menus.
Okay, let's talk about the position. Generally when we say adventure bike, people generally think, oh, it must be a tall bike. It's probably a little bit heavy. How do you feel about the size, the heft, the weight, and the height?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, most of the adventure bikes, because they have high ground clearance, it's practically higher than most bikes. Somehow intimidating for us Filipinos, but I was wrong. I was like, what? Why haven't I, rode this from the start?
Right.
But it's very comfortable and easy to use.
Okay, tell me about the wheel setup. How does that work for you?
Oh yeah, for me it's probably 60-40 or 70-30. 70 more on the off-road and 30 on the road, because it has 21 inches diameter wheel size on the front and 17 on the rear. gives it a more, comfortable, and it takes on the road better.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the look. I mean, this black and yellow scheme, 40 years of GS, it just screams legendary, doesn't it? I mean, it really does harken back to the original R100.
So I really dig the design. I was really glad that they went for this design, because it's a good mix with, the dark theme, the black and the grays, and then the accent of yellow or maybe a gold in different angles. It matches with the gold rims and all. So I really like the design.
Okay, 81 provinces and counting. I'm counting on making it 82, 83, 85 maybe with you one of these days. I'll see you on the road, JP.
All right, thank you, Paolo. Thank you.
All right, our next feature is the R90 Urban GS. Now, I heard that today's R90 Urban GS 40 Years GS Edition, well, with its milled option 719 cylinder head covers and the yellow hand protectors, are all about the details, and details. The off-road tires and the race scrambler exhaust complete the look and are a nod to the 40 years of awesome GS history. Of course, all this talk is nothing compared to the riding experience, which will be told by two vloggers known for their thrilling travels and adventures around the Philippines. They are the ones who are making this happen. Let's hear it from Mike and Nelly. Guys, we've got Mike, we've got Nelly, and we've got the R90 Urban GS. Let's make it happen, guys. Let's talk about you guys as vloggers. I mean, obviously, you guys vlog about anything and everything, but you guys are passionate about travel, and motorcycle travel is something different, isn't it? What is it about motorcycle travel that is so special?
Well, we love road trips. We always love to do road trips, and our very first road trip on a motorcycle was in the Philippines. And it's just so immersive. You're not sitting inside a box, you're out there with the environment, and it's just stunning.
Yeah? You want to add to that?
Yeah, for me it was just that feeling of freedom, and just, it's so different. It makes you feel alive. And for me, that was the entrance level into motorbikes.
Right, I love the way you guys are so excited about talking about motorcycles. Well, let's jump straight into it. I'm sure you've had varying experiences with motorbikes, but really the kind of bike that you ride also shapes the experience, and riding the R90 Urban GS really does leave a lasting memory, doesn't it? Tell us about your experience riding this bike.
Well, what I love about it has so much torque around the low end and the low center of gravity. It feels very nimble, but it has so much power.
Yeah. Are there any particular features? Let's talk about what are some of your standout features on this bike that make your list of, I don't know, your top 3 features maybe.
I always loved vintage bikes, and what I love about the Urban GS is just they took elements from old models from the R100 GS and they implemented here. So we have the bumblebee color scheme and the beautiful cylinder heads here. It's just stunning.
It is, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the things that you love about the bike. You said it's got that vintage look. What about ergonomics, comfort? I mean, you're a fairly tall fellow. How's the comfort riding this?
It's great. The handlebars are higher up than with the normal R90, so you got a upright stance, which makes it comfortable on long rides especially.
Yeah.
Okay, with a bike like this, what is your dream destination?
Batanes.
Yeah?
Yeah, Batanes is just spectacular, and riding this motorbike in Batanes would be the dream.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll have to figure out how to put some floaters on here. I think we can engineer it, but we can make it happen. Thank you so much, guys. A real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
What a ride, huh? Now we go to our last feature, but definitely not the least. Our next feature is the R1250 GS and R1250 GS Adventure. With its modern technical equipment, this GS is the ideal partner for your adventures. Its riding modes pro with new dynamic engine brake control ensures superior pleasure in every situation, while modern lighting technology helps provide the excellent illumination and optimum visibility. And to know more about this GS, well, tara! Today is a special day because we celebrate 40 years of the GS, not just with one GS, but with 2. We've got the R1250 GS and its heftier bigger brother, the R1250 GS Adventure. Now, these 2 bikes are absolutely special in my book. They represent the pinnacle of adventure bikes. There is a rich history surrounding these bikes, but before we talk about them, I'd like to talk a little bit about my start in motorcycling. Now, I started riding bikes almost 30 years ago as a young college student. It was all about practicality for me back then. I needed a cheap and practical way to move around, but little did I know that it would turn into a lifelong passion for traveling on two wheels. Motorcycling really represents not just getting from A to B, but it represents the keys to freedom. It really did open the door to adventure for me. So the GS really does remain to be a holy grail for many riders out there, myself included. So many years later, when I was finally able to add a GS to my stable, I felt like I had really achieved a lifelong dream. And it really is a dream because it's an absolute dream to ride these bikes, which are the combination of, the raw motorcycling experience combined with a very refined ride. It's loaded with all kinds of technological features that work with you in a very unobtrusive way to make it the best riding experience that you can possibly have without actually getting in the way of your riding. Let's talk about the GS. Now, of course, the highlight of this 1250 is 1,254 cc's of boxer twin goodness with the shift cam technology. It gives you the best of both worlds. Power, tractability in the lower revs, and it also has the power there when you crack open that throttle. Now, this is a bike that will really rip on the tarmac. I consider myself more of a road rider, and I was surprised to find bikes like these that handle so well on the road can handle so well off-road as well. Obviously, you have to have the skill, but these bikes will always be better than the rider. Some of the standout features here, of course, on the 40 years edition is the dynamic headlight package that you have here. These are lights that tilt up and down, follow you through the curves left and right. It's an amazing feature that really sort of puts the icing on the cake. Standard features, of course, like the keyless ride. You've got beautiful features here on this particular edition, the 40 years GS. This option 719 black milled cylinder head covers with the yellow trim on it that matches with these yellow handguards. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I've seen pictures of these bikes and I thought that they were good, but when you see them in person, you will absolutely be starstruck. These bikes are the perfect salute to 40 years of GS. Now, to tell us a little bit more about the 40 years of GS celebration, I'm here with Mr. Spencer Yu, the president of SMC Asia Car Distributors Corporation. concludes our feature on 40 years GS, 4 decades of adventure. Now, it's been a wild ride alluding to the legendary past while experiencing the modern technology of the future. If you are a riding enthusiast, whether you're a newbie or a veteran, please do check it out and make memories for the coming years ahead. Here's to freedom, adventure, and to you.